Hi, welcome to ISV Talks. And on this ISV Talks, we have Foy Mainor, who's the ISV Business Development Manager at Acumatica. And Foy is joining me from Acumatica Summit 2022 in Las Vegas, Nevada, the week of January 23rd through the 28th. And with about 2,000 attendees of partners, customers, ISVs, all enjoying 6 days of ERP cloud learning, networking, and fun. So please join me as I welcome Foy. So welcome to this episode of ISV Talks. And on this ISV Talks, we're doing a little something different. We have kind of a man on the street interview with Foy Mainor, who is the ISV Business Development Manager for Acumatica. So welcome, Foy.
Thanks, Carol. I appreciate it.
So Foy, you're right now actually in Las Vegas, Nevada, attending the annual Acumatica Summit 2022.
Absolutely. So I've been with Acumatica since July 1st of last year. Prior to that, I worked for an ISV within the ecosystem that integrated with a lot of the different mid-market and small to medium business ERP. So I've got an extensive background working as an ISV, building and maintaining channel relationships. And then at Acumatica, as you said, I'm an ISV Business Development Manager. I work on a team whose job it is to introduce our Acumatica Developer Network, or ADN program, which is essentially our ISV program, to ISVs. So we get a lot of people that come in with interest in Acumatica, and we walk through the process with them, the steps to a successful partnership. And then once they're on board, once they sign up, then we onboard them, walk them through the process, and then after that, work to maintain the ISVs and help contribute to their success. So my side of the team that I work on is go-to-market business enablement of those ISVs that are a part of the program.
All right, and you haven't been there that long. Where did you come from before that?
Yeah, so I worked for an ISV that was in the requisition and procurement space, primarily on the Microsoft Dynamics side of things. But although throughout the years that I was there, and again, I was there 19 years, we then integrated to the legacy Sage products, Sage Intact, obviously Acumatica. That's how I became familiar with Acumatica. And I always felt like from the first summit that I went to, which I think was in 2016 as an ISV, it was down in Florida, that Acumatica was one of the most partner-centric as well as customer-centric organizations that I've been a part of. The channel was something near and dear to my heart for a number of years. So when I had the opportunity to come work here, I wanted to take advantage of that and hopefully help other ISVs be able to be successful. So.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a lot of dynamics crossover, I'd say, with some ISVs and partners and so forth, also selling and supporting Acumatica. So
there's a lot of familiar faces. Yeah,
a lot of familiar faces.
Yeah, even when I was at the summit back in July, when we had it then, after I'd only been here a couple of weeks, a lot of familiar people. And then I spent a good bit of time last the first night, talking to people that I have known for many years, and that was because of being in the dynamic space. So yeah, there's a lot of crossover, a lot of people looking at Acumatica and going down the Acumatica route as well. So.
Let's get into talking about the summit. And sure. Acumatica is hosting this from January 23rd through the 28th. So it's actually started on Sunday, which is kind of interesting. The event's a full week. Is that right?
It is. So it certainly can be for people. So it actually can start on Saturday. They do what they call a hackathon, where they group people together to be able to come up with and present solutions and then get judged and awarded for those solutions. So we highly encourage developers, but also anybody, sales related people, pre-sales related people, to participate in that. And that started on Saturday. So the hackathon runs Saturday and then through Sunday afternoon. And then after that, we do our welcome reception or kickoff reception on Sunday evening. So that's kind of where all the ISVs are set up within the marketplace by then. They do a happy hour, hors d'oeuvres and drinks in the marketplace. where those ISVs are. And then from there, it continues on. Monday and Tuesday are the sessions, the keynotes, that type of thing. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, Acumatica does training, and it's in user training. It's also principal, owner, executive training, consultant training, pre-sales training, all kinds of different training is offered. So yeah, it can be a long week. It can be a long week. Yeah, some people are here for just a couple of days, but then yeah, there's plenty of people who are here for the whole time. But take advantage of getting everything done at once. You've got everybody from an Acumatica standpoint together as far as the ones that are doing the sessions and doing the training. So take advantage of that. And then also, if your employees are coming to learn about Acumatica, not only can they learn kind of the business side through the sessions and stuff on the first couple of days, but also get more in-depth training on a particular area. So
it's a good event to come to if you are, looking to get more training and education, but maybe you just want to come and learn and find out, what is this product about? Is it a good fit for my business or my partnership? So
yeah, we do have perspective. We have prospective customers, partners, and partners can both be value-added resellers as ISVs. We always have those that are coming in. We have a lot of new partners as new customers as well, who this may be not their first introduction to Acumatica, obviously, but their first, introduction into the ecosystem and the community that Acumatica has. I mean, that's one of the biggest things from an Acumatica side is about the community. Learn, develop, educate. Everybody helps each other, whatever the role is, to be able to help everybody get better. So
that's a really community focused event, it sounds like.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah.
So we talked about 6 days, and so the first couple of days there's about 80 sessions. So what tracks are offered, and who would be attending those?
Yeah, absolutely. So the tracks again are a little bit broken out into customer related. So you can have customer related education and training. There's also partner specific sessions from a value added reseller standpoint. You can learn about the pricing model of Acumatica, just as an example, but also if there's anything new coming out in the partner program, if there's any changes in the partner program, there's also sessions that are spent time on that as well. So it's a great opportunity for end users, for partners to learn what's coming, learn what's happening, be able to provide input and or ask questions directly, rather than through email or forums and that type of thing, and participate on that. But it's essentially anybody can get value out of the summit. For ISVs, it's typically the marketplace, the ability to sponsor. So you can sponsor to be able to showcase your solutions, be able to meet those customers, prospects, partners, and then also, even learn from other ISVs. So the marketplace is a central point for the summit. They do all the meals, all of the happy hours or receptions are all done in and around the marketplace. So there's always opportunity to spend a good bit of time walking through there, and you need it. I mean, you need the marketplace opens on that Sunday and it'll close Tuesday afternoon, but you need that amount of time to be able to get through it and see everybody, because there's a large number of people sponsoring and a part of that.
How many marketplace exhibitors are there?
We had pretty close to 100 sponsorships sold for this particular summit in that area, and that was the largest marketplace or largest expo that we've had. We had the largest number, a record number of premier and platinum sponsors. And then I think about 20% of those were first time sponsors. So as you can see, we get a lot of activity there from people that are new. We encourage our ISVs to heavily participate in the marketplace. Obviously at Summit, it's a live marketplace. You're able to interact and see people. But then from an ISV standpoint, the marketplace that we have online is a huge part of what we talk about and ask them to develop to be able to get word out about their solution. So it gives
because there's the virtual marketplace all year round, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This one's just live and in person, so take advantage of the opportunities that you have there.
So in terms of attendees, how many were expected? How many are in attendance? Do we know at this point? They've counted all the heads yet?
Right. No, I mean, I think they're probably still counting, and maybe still a few people trickling in here and there. I don't know exactly what the numbers are. I haven't seen those. I knew that they were anticipating in excess of 2,000 attendees. I know early bird registration ended on December 17th, and at that time, we had exceeded the early bird registration for the one that we did in July. So we were above and beyond that. And then just from looking at it from that perspective, and I even had a couple of people that I was talking to last night comment that it looks big, it feels big, it looks really busy. So I would definitely say that we are at least as big and bigger than we were back in July, even with everything that's going on. But I haven't seen the numbers come out yet, but I can tell you, walking through the halls, going to the meals and standing in line for the meals and then sitting in the keynotes, it doesn't feel light at all.
How does that compare to the July event? Because it sounded like that was your highest attendance. So maybe this will beat that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think from a July standpoint, obviously, we normally hold it in January of every year. July, we obviously held it then because of the pandemic, and we were very fortunate to be able to do that. So we had some good numbers. Prior to that, we were growing exponentially every year with the attendees for Summit. So the hope is obviously that next January, when we'll hold it again at the Wynn here in Las Vegas, that there won't be the same type of pandemic issues, and we expect to see a huge increase in the number of people that attend.
So if it didn't attend this year, you can definitely plan on it already for next year. That's good.
Absolutely. The dates will be similar to what they are now. The last week in January kind of time frame. We'll announce those here shortly, I'm sure. And then we'll already start as soon as the summit's wrapping up here. We'll already start signing up sponsors and everything else for a year from now to go ahead and get the planning going.
You mentioned COVID, but do you think that had affected attendance? Like, I know a lot of partners and customers are hesitant to travel, or maybe international travel is difficult. So what do you think the impact is?
Yeah, so I mean, from what I've heard, so I knew, I mean, just from the personal story from talking to an ISV a week ago Friday, wasn't able to attend, or said they weren't going to be able to attend because their company had put a hold on all travel. So the company was not allowing any employees to travel. But then he messaged me on Friday right before we came out here and said, "Oh, that changed." So now he's here at Summit and going to be able to attend. And just again, from talking to people, we're a worldwide organization. We've got people coming out of our technology center in Montreal. We've got people in Moscow and Sri Lanka, and coming from everywhere else. Acumatica employees, but then also all of our partners and our customers there. It seemed to be mostly they could get here to the U.S. and be able to get in. For the most part, it was the potential of having an issue getting back home, with having to get a COVID test and the potentially having to quarantine and those types of things, and the impact that would have on their business or their travel. But we still got people that came from all around the world and are able to be here, even in spite of everything that's going on. So.
Yeah, I guess I should have asked you this earlier, but other than the keynote, which I know you can register and virtually watch, was there any other virtual events offered for the summit, or is it
so the two keynotes, the keynote that's on Monday morning and the keynote that is on Tuesday morning are the two ones that you can watch live. So those are the only two to be able to watch live, and they'll also be recorded as well. So obviously, as we're talking now, the keynote on Monday has already occurred, but the recording will be up, and then be able to watch the recording for that. So no, those are the virtual sessions that are available. Summit. Everything else is live and in person.
Yeah, so I guess at the keynote, they did have some announcements, and so what were some of the announcements that are coming out of this summit or out of the keynote sessions?
Yeah, absolutely. So the keynotes are always an opportunity from an Acumatica standpoint to get people excited and to let them know things that are going on. So that could be acquisitions. We acquired a property management solution. That could be partnerships. We've got a document solution or agreement with Adobe for some additional aspects there as far as sign and some of the other things that we can do. Last summit in July, we looked at and talked about an integration with Microsoft Teams. So there seems to always be an opportunity for something new, and to let us know what's new, what Acumatica is looking forward to, maybe a little bit of roadmap stuff, as we talk through. If you watch the keynote from this morning, you'll see John Roskell, CEO, talk a little bit about that and talk to some customers. Just also see Ali Johnny, our Chief Product Officer, talk a little bit about the roadmap and some of those kind of things. But yeah, Monday mornings typically, acquisitions, what have we done, that type of thing, a couple of new ideas and new thoughts during that time.
So any sneak peeks on new releases coming out this year, or?
Yeah, so the Acumatica does 2 releases a year. So we do R1. So we'll do 2022 R1 in the March timeframe, and then we do R2 in the September timeframe. So I think you might see a little bit of that in the keynote from this morning, just in regards to the Adobe stuff and that type of thing. Then there's always the opportunity to take a look on our community and see more ideas of what's coming in, to be able to learn about that. But as we ramp up for R2 here after Summit's over with, there'll be more announcements. And then with the keynote tomorrow and some of the other things that are going on, we'll continue to put those teasers out there and to make those announcements from that standpoint. But it won't be long. The next release, again, 2022 R1 will be out here in just a couple of months.
Okay, all right. So no teasers yet, but
not yet. Well, yeah, you got a
Not
couple
yet.
this morning, maybe, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see. We've still got a couple. We've still got a day and a half left, so we'll see what else comes out of it.
Still might be some more to come.
Exactly.
Was there any particular theme this year? I know, digital transformation journey is definitely part of your mission and your goal to work with clients and partners. But was there any particular themes that are highlighted this year, like machine learning, artificial intelligence?
I would say digital transformation is always a theme that you'll hear Acumatica talk about from the very beginning. That's one of the conversations that's always going to be had. But it is, as you just said, it's about the journey. It's not automagic. It's not something that you can just say, hey, we've transformed ourselves. And you've got to go through the process. If you listen to the first keynote this morning, there's a couple of customer stories that were in there, and it talks about what they went through coming off of legacy systems, and then being able to work with their value-added reseller and get to the point where they could have remote workers as they went through the stuff that's going on with the pandemic, where they could work through being able to have access to data in a mobile in a matter of seconds versus having to go through a file cabinet and look for it. So you hear those stories and start to understand that that's a big part of what Acumatica talks about. So if there's a theme, I'd say that's a continuing theme with Acumatica, and it is digital transformation. And then you talk about artificial intelligence and machine learning and a lot of the other buzzwords that go along there. There's a lot of excitement about what can happen with those kind of things. And that's actually, I mentioned the hackathon a little while ago. When you watch the hackathon that the developers do and the people, and by the way, the hackathon is not, it can be Acumatica employees, it can be employees of the ISVs, it can be employees of the VARs, it can be pretty much anybody, it can be customers, anybody participating in the
like
hackathon.
A little shootout.
Yeah, a little bit. And then they present the solution. So they even like to have the salespeople be a part of it, because typically, obviously, salespeople are supposed to be good at the presentations and the developers and do that. But they do a really good job. And you see a lot of what gets presented in the hackathon is that new, neat stuff that everybody wants to talk about and everybody wants to work on. And sometimes those things may not make it exactly into the product like it gets presented, but it brings up some good ideas. So you see how creative people are, and you'll see a lot of that. So
so you might gotta see a little early version of the thought, of what's going to be coming out in the product and getting
again from all different areas, because it's not just Acumatica employees, it's thought leadership from partners and customers and everybody that's a part of it. So
one question I had, and just in terms of the breakdown of the attendees, do you think there's a large number of customers, partners, Acumatica employees, kind of evenly spread out? I mean, kind of what do you think that breakdown?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably pretty evenly spread out, especially between partners and customers. Again, I don't know the numbers, or I haven't heard anything about numbers for this year, but the summit in July of last year was the first time that we had more customers in attendance than partners. So it definitely is one of the things where, as we grow as a company, and we're growing very quickly, obviously that makes sense, because you're going to have more customers being serviced and sold by the partners and that type of thing. So I know from July that the customer number was the biggest number of attendees. I would expect it's probably the same again, because of the growth that Acumatica is experiencing and going through. And then probably not as many employees here because of what we talked about earlier with travel. But typically we try to get everybody here that can, or that makes sense from that standpoint. So
So what do you think the reasons are that people are joining or attending the summit, and what value do you think that they're walking away with? I mean, what do you
Sure.
think the takeaway is so
Yeah,
far?
so I get a little bit, I can speak a little bit from experience there. As I mentioned, I worked for an ISV for quite a while. I
Mhm.
attended, I think, almost every Acumatica Summit except for one since 2016 while I was with that ISV, and now I'm at my second one as an employee. And I always felt like that Acumatica's Summit was one of the most well-run events,
Mhm.
as far as logistics, providing assistance, the education that you could get, the structure of it, and just always really enjoyed coming to the Acumatica event. I mean, obviously, as an ISV, when you hear that the marketplace is open, all day long, and that you kind of look at that and go, okay, I better find me a chair or wear my comfortable shoes, and and that kind of thing. But it
Right.
truly is an opportunity because I mean, we've all been to shows, and you see some where they have the quote unquote marketplace, where all the sponsors are. Then they have the meals in a totally separate room, or that kind of thing. So
Mhm.
everybody wants to eat. I mean, that's the most important thing. They have the breaks, somewhere different or out in the hallway. But at Acumatica, from a marketplace standpoint, that's kind of the central point. Everything revolves around the marketplace, so you're always in there. You've got plenty of time to go talk to the ISVs from that
Yeah.
standpoint. So that's a big part of what you're able to get the education, learn from each other, find out to an extent what's new, but take advantage of being able to put names to faces a lot of times. Or if you're new customer, new ISP, new
Mhm.
partner, it's a good introduction. Our executive team does a great job of mixing in and interacting, throughout the summit.
That's
So
nice.
where you go,
Yeah.
you always see and can talk to somebody, and they're very open about being able to do that. So you have the opportunity to really get a good idea of what Acumatica is about from all different sides.
Mhm. So you can run into the CEO or
Oh, absolutely.
a salesperson,
You are very lucky to run into John Roscoe and be able to have
right?
a conversation. Absolutely, yes.
On LinkedIn, there was a video or
Hmm.
two with John, showing off the customer showcase area
Hmm.
in the
Hmm.
hotel. And so it looks like he was having a good time.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And then
Going.
we're all excited to be able to be here live and in person. For those of us
Sure.
that could, and it's
Nothing
good because
like it,
my
right?
from my standpoint, I mean, I traveled last July for Summit then, but then really haven't had the opportunity to do any travel from a business standpoint. So again, good to be able to get out and see people. And just from a personal standpoint, as I've become more comfortable at Acumatica, interacting and working with my
Great.
ISVs,
Yeah.
this is a great opportunity to kind of go,
Mhm.
okay, I had a chance to kind of learn and dive in, and now it's time for to hit the road and get going. So.
So, of course, ISV Talks is the name of our podcast series. But if there are ISVs out there thinking about how they can get
Mhm.
engaged with Acumatica, what do you recommend? I mean, other than
So
coming to the summit.
reach out, and then myself or another member of the ISP team will walk you through. We'll spend 30 minutes telling you what's available. So we'll do an introduction of the opportunities to be able to promote your solution. We'll talk to you about the different elements of the program, but we're also going to talk about the steps to success or the journey to success. Again, I've said it's not automatic, right? I mean, you can't just sign up and you could have the greatest solution ever for that works in another area or whatever, but it's going to require the work and the effort. So I'd say I I do this all the time, every day almost. Talk to somebody looking to become an ISV. So go onto our website, you can take a look and easily reach us, and we'll set up a 30-minute meeting. But the things to know from my standpoint are, I always felt like Acumatica, as I mentioned a minute ago, was one of the most partner-centric organizations, one of the most responsive organizations. I know when I was at an ISV, if you reached out and needed something or had a question, you'd get a response. You'd get a pretty quick and immediate response. And just the opportunity
Yeah.
to be able to have that. I know from working with maybe other ERPs throughout the years, that wasn't always the case, primarily
Yeah.
because they maybe didn't have a dedicated person or a dedicated team a lot of times to that.
Yeah.
Again, throughout the years, right? Obviously
Mhm.
things change, but that's our focus. I mean, that's all I do is intro, onboard, and help with the go-to-market strategies of
Okay.
ISPs. And then there's other members of the team that are dedicated to doing the same thing. So,
Nice that there's a centralized team to kind of help with that onboarding,
yep.
because a lot of ISVs aren't aware, how to get engaged, how to get listed on the marketplace, how
Yep.
to, what if they need some help with writing their API or, some
Yeah,
technical question,
absolutely.
like how do you access that? And so it's
Yeah,
great that you guys can help facilitate that for sure.
yeah,
Well,
that's
thank
what we're here
you.
for. Yeah.
Boy, is there anything else you want to say about the summit? And I
No,
know
I
that
mean,
people will hear this after the summit, but
right. I'll say there's something for everybody. As we kind of mentioned before. I mean, even from my standpoint, I'm on the ISV business development side of things. But when I was in Summit in July, I attended what they call the principal owner and executive session, which is part of that 3-day training
Mhm.
that I talked about, where they really focus on how to run and manage your business from that level, as the owner, as an executive. And that was just very informative and very intuitive. And then I'm also attending training Wednesday, Thursday, Friday while I'm here this time, and I'm taking the project management training class because we're highly encouraged to learn all aspects of what's going on. I mean, I doubt
Mhm.
I'll ever project manage anything officially, from my side, but it's
Yeah.
important to know how Acumatica's approach works with project management so that then I can speak more
Mhm.
intelligently to ISV. So I'll say that kind of is predominant throughout the organization. You're encouraged to know what other teams are doing, what other people do, what their jobs and roles are, and how to work together and work with
People
each
aren't
other.
working in silos
No,
and
I would say here definitely not. No, definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, we're always like, "Whoops, sorry about that. I didn't mean to take that meeting," or "No, you can have that meeting," or it's just one of those where you see something come across, and if you can answer it, you answer it and jump right on it, and then move on to the next
Mhm.
thing. So that would be one of the big parts is just really, and even today during the keynote, if you see somebody in an Acumatica shirt, stop them, talk to them, and tell them. You don't necessarily
Mhm.
have to find the person that might match what it is that you're looking for to ask them or tell them or whatever. But
Yeah.
we can find out who that is, and we can make sure that we always kind of share in the responsibility and share with what's going on with customers, partners, everybody that's involved.
Nice. Well, it sounds like you guys are having a great sessions, and I'm looking forward to the keynote tomorrow. And then I have another man on the street interview with a couple more folks that are
Nice.
attending. So, well, thank you for your time, Foy, and I appreciate you sharing a little bit about your insights with the Acumatica Summit and what's coming on the horizon. So, thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome. I appreciate you having me on.
So thank you, Foy, for joining me on ISV Talks this week. Here's Foy Mainor's contact information. Again, he's the ISV Business Development Manager for Acumatica. He and his team work with ISVs to help them get onboarded for Acumatica. Foy's email is foy.mainor@acumatica.com. Thank you.